The best way to become a game developer, believe it or not, is to start making games. For real, regardless of what kind of role or path you want to take. Whether it's becoming a AAA game designer, whether it's programming, whether it's art or sound, or whether it's becoming an indie developer or whatever else, I think there's enormous value in starting out by being able to actually put something together. To have that shotgun blast of experience from just making and hopefully finishing a simple hobby project or two. So even if being a hobbyist working with simple tools isn't what you're aiming for, while you're out there getting your programming degree or drawing 1,000 swords a month or whatever, I think everyone who wants to get into game development would benefit from the kickstart of just taking some time out to learn what it is to make an entire game. Just a small one, but an entire one. Now, we don't want to spend all year on this. Ideally, for most of you getting started, we just want to spend a rainy weekend or two on this. We just want to dive in. So we probably want to work with an engine. You can very quickly start making games with super focused and simple tools like Twine or RPG Maker, but I'm focused on giving you a broad taste for everything in game development all at once. So we're going to stick with broader and more generalized engines. There's also tools that don't involve any coding or scripting, but for the love of God, do something that involves a bit of coding. You don't have to become a programmer. You just have to learn the absolute 101 basics to hack surprisingly complex things together in the least optimized, messiest way imaginable. Do not fear code. It is the most empowering thing in the world to learn just a tiny bit of, and the skills are incredibly transferable, so don't even worry about what language. All that empowerment is front-loaded with diminishing returns, honestly. That's why I say just learn the basics, bang for buck. For engines, it'll come as no surprise to my subscribers that I recommend GameMaker just because it's what I use, and I think it still strikes the best balance of accessibility, easy coding, and yet power and flexibility long term. While its focus is on 2D and accessibility, it's going to give you a good taste of everything that goes into game development quickly, and that's what we want. There's a free version that at time of recording you can do everything with, and then pay for like 1 month of a cheap sub if you actually want to then publish or share what you've made. Godot is an option if you want something very free, though needing a bit more dedication to get started with. It's kind of the Linux of game development, which makes it great in theory, but maybe not for a total beginner who isn't necessarily wanting to commit to anything right away. Unity and Unreal are great, but extremely daunting for a beginner, as well recommended, supported, and documented as they are. Any engine out there you can spend an entire career mastering, but like I said, we don't want to overcommit. With GameMaker, we can make something in a weekend and decide whether or not that was any fun or where to go next, which is why I recommend it the most. If you're already really committed though, they are really good engines. I know Mark Brown has that awesome series on getting into game dev in Unity and had lots of good reasons for starting there, but it pains me a little how much more quickly he could have made his Cute Magnet game with something like, well, GameMaker or probably even Godot. That said, Mark had the luxury of a lot more free time to get into this than probably a lot of people might. Like I said, we're aiming for rainy weekends, not taking a whole month out of life to make a game, but also, I mean, if you can do that, all the more power to you, for sure. So you downloaded GameMaker or whatever else, now what? Well, if it is GameMaker, I have a whole dang channel of tutorials depending on what scope of game you're after, but I think a lot of people might benefit from following the half-joke turbo tutorial I made that slams a game together in about 12 minutes just to get started. Not just because, boom, you made a game, congrats, but because that will give you your first taste of just what goes into a game. The logic, the sprites, etc. Every game developer spends their whole career trying desperately to be less terrible at scoping and planning and working out how long things will take to do, so the better a head start we can give you on that nightmare, the better. Then also you can reflect. Was any of that fun, or interesting, or satisfying? You can pull it apart, see how it works, read the manual, start watching a few tutorials for whatever kinds of games you like the idea of making. There's stuff out there for everything. Now, don't necessarily follow those tutorials, I just mean watch bits of them. Get an idea for what's involved and decide what you'd like to try and make. A tutorial can only show you how to make stuff that already completely exists, and I don't think really making clones and so on is a good idea for beginners. I think you should try and do something that's your own in some way. If it's just a platformer with one mechanical idea you like, much like Mark's game, that's ideal. It's interesting and it's yours. You'll have something you remember making whether it comes out good or not, and it probably won't come out good, so don't worry about that. So then just try and make a thing and try and finish it. When I say finish it, I mean give it a start, give it an end, give it some crappy artwork you draw in paint or whatever, give it some sound effects you recorded on your webcam mic, give it a little executable icon, make an itch.io page and share it with the world. Or don't share it with anyone, but still make like a hidden itch.io page, it'll teach you a lot. But if you do make something, sharing it with anyone, even if it's just your partner or your parents or whatever, is super valuable, because then you'll see immediately how rubbish your game is, and that single moment honestly by itself teaches you 99% of the entirety of game design. They won't know the controls, they won't know what to do, they won't have any fun, it's going to be amazing. I would tell you not to go too big, not to overscope, to keep things simple, but you won't listen, and that's fine. You'll think you're listening, but you won't, and that's just part of the process. You need to crash headfirst into reality and be shown just what game development is and how difficult, confusing, but also satisfying and fulfilling it all is. Be messy, be creative, make stuff, try and finish it, But if it's taking too long, either cut stuff or start again, that's fine. Any outcome is fine whether you finish or not. The point is to try stuff out and do as much stuff for the first time as possible. And if you managed to do any of the things in this video, congrats, you became a game developer. Did you enjoy it? Do you want to do more of it? Game jams are a pretty good place to go next. I made a video with some advice I have for folks who want to take part in one of those maybe. But wherever you end up in the journey that brought you here, I wish you luck and fun. If you want to support me on my journey, I have a Patreon that funds all of my videos. I mostly make tutorials for GameMaker if that's your thing. Either way, thanks for watching to the end, best of luck, and I'll catch you all next time.